Tales from the Podcast is brought to you by the following generous sponsorships. House of Mysterious Secrets. Visit houseofmysteriousecrets.com and use the discount. Tales from the Podcast is brought to you by the following generous sponsorships.
The Happy Hour News Team. Check them out at www.happyhournewsteam.com.
TalesFromThePodcast.com, where you can pick up your copy of Tales of Shock and Terror #1. The Skewered Universe Podcast. And viewers like you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tales from the Podcast. I am your de facto host, Uncle Ron, and I'm still laid up with my bum leg, so I'm doing this from the couch. And with me this week, as always, is Jeff. Jeff, where is the salt for my fucking shortbread?
I just don't have any for you. I want to know where's my shortbread, though.
I think it's in your pants. There
That's
you go.
Right.
We got a great show. We're going to talk about episode 5 of Darkplace, Scotch Mist, and also we're going to be joined in just about maybe 10 seconds here by our guest this week. Did you have a good week?
That's right. You know, it was busy. It was very busy. My week.
Very weird week. It was a very weird week. The guy at the comic shop, he has a woman coming in from the Philippines he's going to marry, but none of us think it's going to happen. So
wow.
I purposely took off all of Wednesday so I can be there to make sure when she comes in, I can say to her, look, I shaved today if you need a place to sit down, just to drive it. So, we're going to go ahead and introduce our guest this week. If you know that GB's not here, so there's no short jokes. There's no Jason Blum hate. There's no Dean Cain love. So he's going to hear this and he's going to get so pissed. But you know what? I don't care.
He let the inmates run the asylum, man. It is what it is.
He really did. So let's go ahead and bring up our guest this week, Steve Merlo.
Do it.
Steve, how's it going, Steve?
Hey guys, I'm doing just absolutely wonderful, and I love Dean Cain, and I hate Jason Blum.
And then, so basically, what's going on is So yeah, but thanks for being here. Now, if you don't know Steve, he is the director of the Sawyer Family Massacre, which you can watch on YouTube, and you have a new project. Tell us a little bit about On the Scene.
Sure, it's a psychological style horror film that is really kind of meant to put you in the into the mental capacity of the antagonist, which is something I don't think you've really seen very much of. Like, you're actually meant to kind of even feel what he feels. It's not so much you see what he sees, but you get really put into his environment, because he's a pretty normal person that's just had the worst frickin' day of his life, basically. And he just he goes on this massive downward spiral, and things get really, really crazy.
That I noticed when I watched the trailer that he kind of, like, the way you hear his voice and everything like that, he kind of reminded me of I guess his name is, I don't know if they ever actually gave him a name from the original Black Christmas, Billy.
Oh, Billy, yeah, Billy.
Yeah, like he kind of gave me that. I kind of got that kind of a vibe from it. and
That's good.
that's not a knock because Bob Clark's Black Christmas is a fucking tent pole.
Oh, of course.
Classic.
I would be lying if I said there was no inspiration from Black Christmas.
Oh, well, there you go.
So definitely it's heavily inspired by Black Christmas, probably more than any other film. A little bit of Halloween would be mixed in as well, but I think Halloween was inspired by Black Christmas and some classic Hitchcockian type films as well, So it definitely has that kind of vibe.
Okay,
definitely
great.
that kind of slasher film for sure.
And what made you kind of go from doing the Sawyer fan film to wanting to do something like this? Because they are technically two very different subgenres of horror.
I like psychological stuff, and even Sawyer Massacre does have some psychological stuff going on with it for sure. But I definitely feel like my style of filmmaking is more that kind of slow burn kind of psychological slasher that makes the audience think. I know a lot of audiences don't want to think too much and they just want blood, give me more blood. But you're not going to get a lot of that from me. I hate to say it,
Well, that's like with the original Chainsaw. I remember when I was in college when that was dumb. My psychology professor was like, "Oh, that's the bloodiest movie I've ever seen in my life." I was like, "There's no blood in that movie whatsoever." No, there really is. I'm like, "No, but the name that it's called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre." It makes you think immediately. Your brain thinks that there's just like this mountain of sinew of blood. You know what I mean? It's like the like somebody's butthole was reminding them of the elevator doors in The Shining.
Before I had finally got to see the original TCM, I had always thought, oh, it's going to be this crazy, bloody movie. Then when I watched it, I went, I see what Hooper did. The name is going to make you think you're in for this bloodbath. And it's all about what you don't see. Your mind fills in the blanks. Like you never see her go up on the hook.
Oh, that's not
now you kind of
call that now. Now, since it's X, what are we supposed to call it? Well, I X'd that person.
Oh, jeez.
I don't get that. That's
I don't get it either. I'm on Threads now anyway, which gives me a lot of mental problems because it reminds me of the movie Threads, and then I immediately start picturing like burned out houses and dead babies in women's arms and happy stuff. And Colin's here, and he says that even the hook scene didn't have blood, if I remember correctly. Same with the original Halloween. John Carpenter was dead set on no blood. That's right. There was no blood in the original Halloween. The only blood you saw was on Jamie Lee Curtis's arm after he slashed her, but even that's not that much.
Yeah, it's not that much.
Yeah. So
it's a pretty non-bloody film.
Yeah. So there you go.
I dig psychological. Slashers are my big thing. I just love slashers because they're so ridiculous most of the time. But as far as what can get under my skin, it's always a good psychological thriller or horror movie. So it's kind of what I go to. If I want to feel unsettled, I'm putting on something that's going to mess with my head. So
now you, according to the Indiegogo, are you done shooting or are you just looking for finishing funds or how's that?
No, we're just starting. We're really just starting. We're looking for a production budget right now. Mm-hmm. So we're on our second campaign. Our first campaign we raised, well, geez, I'm Canadian, so I see it in Canadian dollars. It was a little over 10,000 Canadian. And Colin
in the chat's Canadian, so he'll be able to translate that for us.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so
$20. 20. No, it's more than that, but
20 American dollars. That sounds about right.
Hey, Ron, do we want to bring up his Indiegogo? I can share the screen. We can pull it up so people can kind of see it, and then we'll put the link.
Yeah, go ahead, bring it up. You got it, or you want me to try and do it?
I got it. Sharing it now. Should come on.
Have to turn my lights on.
And then here, Cornelius. Yeah, I'm not going to start calling hashtag Black Twitter, which is less Twitter, Black X. Yes, it's Malcolm Twitter.
There you go.
Taking a second, but yeah, we got it here. So
there you go.
So there we go. Our newest campaign, which has raised over 4,000 Canadian dollars, is 33 something, I think there.
Yeah, 33,
3,300
33.
USD.
Yeah, $33. That makes sense. Yeah, about that.
I think all in all, we've raised a little over 10,000 US. Plus, we've had a private investor, which helps. That helps us offset the budget a little bit. Of course, we're giving up equity on that one, but overall, we've got a good start. We're hoping we can hit our goal in this current campaign so that pre-production can go smoothly and hopefully be able to start filming. I'm hoping by probably March of next year. Originally, I wanted to start filming by like October of this year, but I don't think that's possible at this rate. We have to. It's not just the money, but because I'm spending all this time promoting the Indiegogo and doing lots of podcasts, I have no time to start pre-production, and pre-production should take at least a few months, if not more. So, yeah,
Have you cast everybody already? And
have I what? Sorry,
have you cast everyone so far? Or?
Everybody except for like smaller roles, and we're reserving a lot of those small roles for people that get the executive producer perks on our campaign. Yeah. So, but they're very small, like one-liners sort of thing.
Well, it's a good thing you're not in the States because, well, never mind. Stupid SAG.
Well, mind you, we cast a lot of people from the States.
Well, yeah, because they can't get any work down here now.
Yeah.
And here's the link. I think you should just be in the chat for that because I am not going to read that out.
Yeah, go in the chat. You can get the link.
That's like speaking Canadian. Also,
we have our own language up here.
much love to my folks in Nova Scotia who got flooded.
Yikes!
Yeah, I'm a huge Trailer Park Boys fan, so Nova Scotia is kind of like my second home. So that's I've never been there, but I want to go to King of Donair really bad. And I want to go to Tim Hortons.
I'm just scrolling here so people can kind of get an idea of what to expect when they go over here. So we want you guys to go check this out on your own, but here's like a glimpse.
Yeah, we can't do all the work for you.
Yeah, get a glimpse. You can check out our main page. You can see we've got some good artwork. We have an awesome graphic artist that did all this.
Yeah, this stuff looks really cool. I was looking at this earlier.
Take any credit for that,
And
he designed 3 posters for us. I'm like, geez, I would have been happy with just one, but he showed me all these designs. Like, I like every single one. We got to sell all of them, and it's funny. Like, I think they've sold pretty evenly between all 3 of them as far as the Indiegogo goes.
Fast.
What's that?
Say it 5 times fast. Indiegogo goes.
Indiegogo goes. Indiegogo goes. But yeah, I mean, it's he does great work. That's Joe Lawrence of More Sense Designs. He does fantastic graphic work. If anybody needs graphic work, go talk to him. His work speaks for itself.
These posters are really cool. I like the way these look. I think this one is my favorite just because it's just kind of like, oh, what the hell does this mean?
It kind of looks like Rose and Jack in the Titanic, except
By the way, with that poster, we have a perk on the campaign for that to actually be your hand that we use, because the poster, he just used a stock image that he found online, and we are eventually, no matter what, going to replace that stock image. So there's a perk on the campaign to have your hand on the poster. It could be yours, but
your hand could be famous. So make sure you don't have any hangnails.
No kidding.
Yeah. Oh, I'm scrolling through some of these and I see own it on VHS. That's kind of a cool little thing there.
Yeah, I like offering a VHS. I made a good contact with Skynet Media. I've been on his YouTube channel once too. It's called Check the Candy.
Skynet.
Yeah, you know Skynet.
I only know what it does to our world.
But yeah, he did all of our VHS for Sawyer Massacre, and it was funny after we sent them out. After he sent them out, and he sent me pictures of the VHS and what they're looking like. I posted them on Instagram. It just blew up, and then everybody wanted a VHS. Just like that,
Angel Bradford's in the.
Yep, Angel Bradford is cast. Well, we got a fantastic cast. I'll say that. We got Felissa Rose. We've got Brett Wagner. Yeah, a lot of great Bill Russell there. He's been in a few things. There's me. I'm not in the movie, but
I
yeah, Brett
actually,
Wagner.
when I interviewed Felissa long time ago, it just wore down into a 30-minute conversation about penis. So,
Well, there you go.
well, I mean, that's what she's famous for, being a chick,
Yeah, it is.
you know,
Chicks
to
with
put it
dicks,
bluntly.
And you know what? She does not shy away from it. She embraces
Oh yeah,
I know.
what she
I
did.
know.
She's not running away like, oh, say someone like Kevin Bacon was like, for the longest time, wouldn't talk about being in a horror film. Felissa's like, yeah, I was. So
Yeah.
how did I scar you growing up? I'm like,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is
So-
when I talked to Linda Blair, I asked her, I'm like, what did your parents think about the script when they read it? Because you were like 11 years old. There's no way you got that gig without your parents reading the script first. And
Yeah.
all she talked about was her dogs, but that's neither here nor there. Because she is an animal rights extrovert. Yes, activist. Jesus fucking Christ, learn to speak,
Yeah.
Ron. Now, when it comes to something like Unseen, you said that there were inspirations from Halloween and from Black Christmas, but where did like the initial germ for the film hit your head? Like, was there like with Chainsaw? Toby was in a J.C. Penney at Christmas, and he saw the chainsaws, and then thought about a way to get out, and then mixed the Ed Gein thing in. Big up to Eddie from Wisconsin. And I'm just, what was the germ for you? That kind of.
It was just a dream I had. I'll be honest. I have a lot of weird dreams. It's probably why I love the new movie Skinamarink so much. And so many people hate that movie, but I love it.
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, I'm too busy.
You'll either love it or hate it, but I really liked it because it felt like a childhood nightmare, and I just remember all my childhood nightmares. So, I mean, I don't know. I had a really weird dream one night, and this idea just kind of popped in my head when I woke up and just started writing, and I mean, I think I also drew some inspiration from certain things that happened in my life here and there. There was some, not so good stuff. And I mean, I'm not going to be here and say everything in my life has been perfect. And there was never a moment where I thought I could snap or something, So I drew inspiration from those little things, past relationships I had, that were not the greatest. It's just I kind of took inspiration from a lot. But seriously, it was one day I woke up from a weird dream I had, and I just started writing. So
kind of like Killing Joker at the One Bad Day.
There you go.
Or Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Falling Down. I have Brett Wagner's made that comparison a few times after reading the script. So I totally agree with him.
I see, in my head, I went with you having the strange dreams to writing, whatever came to you. I was liking it to New Nightmare, where Wes Craven was writing the new script based on the nightmares he was having. So that's where my mind goes.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, the original Nightmare was based. Freddy Krueger was based on an old bully of his. So,
yeah, you draw inspiration from lots of places, and I like the creative process that way.
Well, there you go. Perfect. So go over and support Unseen on Indiegogo. How many more days there are left on the campaign?
I think we're about halfway through now. So about 15. We only made a 30-day campaign. I heard that if we don't hit our goal, we have that option of extending it now, which they never used to have, but apparently they do. So I'll have to look into that. But I'm hoping I don't need it because I want to start working on pre-production.
Right.
That I can get all my ducks in a row, and we're not going to be taking forever to shoot this thing. So hopefully we can hit it, but
that would be quacktastic if you could.
I think so. We're over halfway there, so I think we will. I'm going to just keep pushing.
So go over and support Unseen on Indiegogo. Great cast. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic film. And now we're going to switch gears just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go from first and into second, and we're going to talk about episode.
I pulled up the site again. There are 15 days left on the campaign, so you guys get your asses over there and help support this.
Yes, there you go. 30-day campaign, halfway done. Yeah, so there you go.
There you go, halfway done. I think we're 56% funded at this point.
And with Indiegogo, you get to keep whatever you get. So
yeah, it's not like Kickstarter, but
yeah,
I want a campaign that goes in demand so that I don't really have to really worry about it so much, and it can keep raising funds. And there's no pressure. If I don't have a campaign that's in demand, I got to start another one. It's just I'll make the goal really low the last time to make sure, but man, I'd rather hit it now so I can just get starting to work on the pre-production side, nailing down my locations and all that kind of stuff, which can take a while. So
no, I totally get that. I used to make films for 13 years, so I know all about that.
Oh,
the last Indiegogo I did put me in the hospital for stress.
Oh yeah, it is stressful.
Yeah, it's very stressful. Yeah.
That is what I've heard. I have not done anything. I'm not a filmmaker or anything like that. I'm just a podcaster, but a friend of mine does it. Actually, a couple of friends of mine, and Ron as well, have told me how stressful it can be.
We're not friends. Not easy. Fine. You son of
I did 4 campaigns for the Sawyer Massacre. I'll just say that I did 4. Wow. 2 of them went in demand, but it was a lot of work. And anybody that thinks that all the work is just in the beginning state, like setting up the campaign, it's not a set it and forget it. Like, we have a kick-ass looking campaign, but if I did nothing, we'd probably raise nothing. So it's you got to be promoting it every day. You got to be reaching out to people and doing stuff like this, podcasts, and get people talking about it.
Constant nose to the grindstone. You're just constantly going.
I'll be honest with you, it got to a point where people were donating, so I would stop posting. I'm still going to take their money.
That's probably the same with me too. But I have no idea because I do post a lot. I'm not going to lie, I post a lot of.
But you believe you believe in what you're doing. You want to get it done, and you have to do everything to get to that point. So you have to be a little annoying, but hopefully at the end of the day, people enjoy the final product, and it'll all be well worth it.
That's the goal. Yeah, hopefully enough people enjoyed the Sawyer Massacre to make them want to support our film.
And that's on YouTube. You can check that out right now. So go watch that. It's 90 minutes. It's along the vein of like a Never Hike Alone or like, there you go.
So you can check that out.
If you like the Friday the 13th fan films, you'll like this. It's it's the only Friday the 13th we're getting because of the fucking lawsuit, but I'm glad that's over with. So check that out. And now we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna go from first to second, and hopefully don't pop the clutch to talk about episode 5 of Garth Marenghi's Darkplace, Scotch Mist. Now this is the first time seeing Darkplace, Steve.
For me, yes.
What did you think of the show? What were your initial impressions?
My initial impressions are this is really bad on purpose, but I love it. It was one of those things where that it's purposely bad. It's meant to look cheap and have some bad acting and whatnot, but it really, really works. This is definitely a case of they definitely knew what they were trying to do with this, and I really liked it. And I'm intrigued to watch more of it. I know there's only 6 episodes, and this is the 5th one. Now I have to go back and watch the first 4 episodes.
The first episode is I'll just be honest with you, it's a shit show, but in the best way.
Yeah.
I love it already.
People showing up, getting shotguns that didn't have them 5 seconds ago, and flamethrowers, and cats just showing up out of nowhere after you see some. Yeah, it's best to just watch. It's good house.
And if you have Amazon Prime, it's there, or it's also on Peacock. I found out recently. So.
Oh, is it?
I have Amazon Prime. I think
it's also on YouTube. It's also on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's how I saw this episode. So.
Yeah, it's but the thing is it's not the best episode of the 6. Even the 6th episode isn't even as good as the first 4, and that's why I think I'm glad we didn't get more, because I think they would have run out of ideas. I mean, we have yet to get the musical sequence in the next episode. where Thornton Reed raps, which is
There you
hilarious.
Yeah. I can't wait to get there, but oh man.
It's going to be very, very interesting. And that's the thing about this show is that we set up that we're going to talk about the new episode. We're going to talk about Darkplace. What ends up happening is that we end up talking about everything but Darkplace because you can't really comment on it because it's a comedy. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we love it. We love every episode, some episodes more than the others, but this always ends up diving into something else. So I'm just going to ask, has anybody seen anything good lately that they want to talk about?
Again, I mentioned it earlier, Skinamarink. I really liked it. I know, again, a lot of people hated it, but, for me, as somebody who, again, remembers my childhood nightmares, it was like they captured childhood nightmares perfectly. And I think that's why I liked it so much. But I totally understand why so many people hate it, because it's just random shots in a house and you don't see much of anything.
Oh, you mean like a nightmare?
Yeah.
Oh.
For 100 minutes. And it's very much, you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on throughout this movie. And I think that's why I like it. I like trying to put the pieces together. I'm one of those people that likes to analyze stuff, and so if you don't
I gotta give that one another watch. I gotta give it another shot because I turned it off after a little while. I was like, I just don't.
I can understand. You gotta have patience to watch it for sure.
I try to give everything a fair shake, so I'll go back, watch it all the way through, and see what I come away with. Because I've heard some people even liken it to, like, if you've had sleep paralysis, this movie kind of feels like that. And I'm like, well, I've had it since I was a kid. I've dealt with sleep paralysis my entire life, so we'll see. That's kind of a big thing. But
I'm just waiting because it'll probably end up on the next season of The Last Drive-In.
Yeah, at some point it will. I'm sure
it'll show up on Joe Bob eventually, and then it can be broken up with his, his back and forth. So
Darcy will probably love it, and Joe Bob will probably hate it.
Okay, first off, I love. Are you a fan of Joe Bob, Steve?
I am. I haven't. I mean, I don't get to watch that show, but obviously, I mean, he was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and all. And he did a shout out for the Sawyer Massacre on Cameo when we had our first or second campaign. So that was pretty cool.
He does.
So I love Joe Bob.
Chainsaw. Yeah. The thing is, I remember when they did Dinners of Death and they showed the original Chainsaw, and he brought Darcy over and he said, "So, do you like this?" And she goes, "Well, I'm about to say something that people might not like, and my own kid thinks it's sacrilege, but I like the remake better." And the way his face was just like, "What?" And he goes, "You mean the one from 2003 with Andrew Borniarski?" And she's like, "Yeah, he scored it up more."
That's okay.
I mean, to each their own, but.
Well, I mean, when your opinion's wrong, it's wrong. But I remember meeting Gunnar Hansen at a con, and we kind of great guy. We kind of hit it off, and he was showing me. He pulled out his laptop, and he showed me that because if you ever have seen the behind the scenes stuff for Texas Chainsaw 3D, which for my money is the only true sequel to the original. And I enjoyed Texas Chainsaw 3D. I saw it in the theater, and so did I. The only thing I don't like is "Do Your Thing," cuz that was just kind of like really you quickly embraced like you have only known for a little while in this movie what's going on, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm cool with you killing everybody. Yeah, so I mean, if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, he is talking. Gunnar's on set because he was in the movie in the very beginning, and he says this is how Andrew Borniarski shuts the door, the steel door, and he goes, and he finally closes it, and this is how you're supposed to shut it. And he slams it real hard, and I guess that pissed him off.
The funny thing is, though, is that wasn't actually Andrew Bernarski that slammed the door. That was Brett Wagner, who's in my new film. By the way, there you go. It wasn't even him, and Andrew Bernarski got pissed off over it.
Yeah, and the thing about that though is that he got so mad about it that he started making pictures of like people that he kills in Chainsaw and putting Gunner's face on it and sending it out. It's like, are you a child?
That's pretty ridiculous.
I mean, that's why I quit making movies and now I'm horror hosting instead. I mean, plus I can talk about movies, I can entertain people, and I don't have to deal with all the bullshit.
I mean, at least Bernarski can do a pretty good Christopher Walken impression.
No, you know what he can really do? He can do a really
Batman
good
Returns.
impression.
That's true.
Yeah, he can do a very good Zangief impression. But yeah, now are you doing any cons coming up, or do you do that kind of thing?
There's not a lot of that here in Canada. I have to fly out to do any, but I'm thinking about it. I mean, it's possible I could do well at cons. I don't know. I just don't know enough about a lot of these cons. I'd love to be able to go to some of them, that's for sure. But and I keep getting told to go to them, so I'm like, oh, I guess so. I don't know. I just don't know how well I would do at a con.
I would look at something like a Flashback Weekend. It just happened in this last weekend in Chicago. And that way it's not, that way you're not going too deep into the States, and it's the only one of its kind. There isn't one like Days of the Dead where there's one in Indianapolis and Chicago and LA and all this stuff. And our friend of the show, Jen Nangle, Queen Malvoya, will be at the one in LA, so that's kind of cool. Good for her. And it's kind of like I don't know if you know who Svengoolie is, but
no.
He's a horror host it started in the Midwest, got on a network, and he's all over the country now. Him and Joe Bob are friends, and they did something. They did a panel together at Flashback. I had a buddy who wrote a book about horror sequels, and he sold out at Flashback. So that might be the con for you, is Flashback, because you're making stuff that's kind of got that retro vibe to it in a way, and that's the one I prefer to Days.
Yeah. I'll have to look into it more. I mean, it's going to cost me money to get there.
You got a whole year before the next one. So
okay.
It's I remember because when I went to Days of the Dead, I almost got into a fist fight with someone over the last copy of I Spit on Your Grave on DVD with the Joe Bob commentary.
Oh man.
Yeah. I was like, and they knew I wanted it, and they ran over there and grabbed it. And I was like, you son of a bitch. And I just me, at that time I was like 350 pounds, and you want me running down, I'm 6'4", 350. You want me running down the halls through a group of people? Like, no, just hand over the I Spit on Your Grave and everything will be okay.
So are you saying you would have given him the full Bernarski?
No, because it would have been, Oh man,
that's funny.
But
we are talking about pretty much anything other than Darkplace, aren't we?
Yeah, that's the way it always works. That's the way it always works.
The show is so hard to try and break down. Like, you could give the plot synopsis, and it's like people would just go, "What?"
Yeah, basically,
so we kind of just talk about what we like about it.
Everybody, for the last episode next week, please come to the Discord, and you can watch along with me and JB and Jeff, and we make our little comments about it. And I mean, at one point in the episode, he says that he was flying to Norway, and a storm kicked in, and he had to land in Scotland, even though Scotland's to the left of England. So he would. It's like, what? That's not geographically possible.
It's going all over the place.
Or, I mean, just because he shit talks Scotland, that's why the mist came in, and he got out of it by giving them shortbread and an apology.
An apology.
And
that was great.
I want to. JB couldn't be with us, but I want to give
read JB's reaction to the episode, because I'm gonna go hide under a blanket afterwards.
So JB says, and as far as my opinion on the episode, it's definitely not my favorite. I'll admit that, but I will say it's a very accurate representation of Scottish people. So to the Scottish people, I would like to apologize. JB does not speak for everyone here at Tales from the Podcast.
The thoughts of Justin Bustle are those of Justin Bustle alone. And
they do not reflect
Uncle Ron Cinema, Jeff from Skewered Universe Podcast, or Steve Merlo from I can't even read that or say it out loud. Sequanda Films.
Sequanda Films.
I got it right! Yay! Yes, so
Oh,
JB's on a whole and it's a good thing he's not here because he'd be making a bunch of short people jokes and all this other kind of stuff, and it's
He'd probably be talking with a ridiculous Scottish accent.
Yep, that sounds about
He
right.
would have been playing the bagpipes wearing a kilt.
Yes,
Does he play the bagpipes?
I have no idea, but I wouldn't put it
anybody
past
really
him to
play
try.
the bagpipes?
that'd be hilarious if he learned just to fuck with them. That would be so funny.
I would learn the bagpipes just to play Rod Stewart, Married and Axe Murders. Do you think I'm sexy? So,
Oh, jeez.
if you think I'm sexy, on you want my body, all you got to do is go. That was great. I love that.
Have either of you ever watched any Red Letter Media?
I have not.
I've checked out a couple of things of theirs. You did have me watch the thing on Thunderpants, so before
they do
one
a
of our
show called
episodes.
Best of the Worst, where they have 3 movies and they pick which is the best of the worst. Well, they did an episode on the movies Bloody Birthday, Psycho from Texas, which is just so bad, and Crazy Fat Ethel 2.
Okay.
Only heard of one of those.
Crazy Fat Ethel was shot on film. It was an actual movie, and it had this crazy fat woman who was just like going around killing people. And then the sequel is made 50% up of. It's like a Silent Night, Deadly Night situation.
Okay.
The sequel has mainly footage from the original, and the stuff that they filmed for the sequel was all shot on video. And they have the onboard mic audio because it was the air cooling cameras.
Oh,
Feel that noise, the whole.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was just. It was just so bad. It was so bad. At least with Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. We got some good stuff out of the new stuff. It's garbage day.
Yeah. Which I still have to see the second one. I've seen the first one.
You haven't seen the second one yet?
I haven't seen the second one yet.
Well, you've seen most of the second one if you've seen the first one.
That is true. That's what I know, and I've seen the majority of it. So
Punish. So let's dive back some. What was the first horror movie you ever saw? There you go. There you go.
I like that.
I had to put that up real quick.
What was the first horror movie? What was the movie that snagged you horror wise, Steve?
The first movie that snagged me horror wise, probably Halloween. I remember I was 8 years old when Halloween 4 came out, which I didn't get to see the movie at the time, but I remember seeing the TV trailers, the TV spots for it. And I'd never heard of Michael Myers before. I'd already heard of Jason. I'd heard of Freddy because they were kind of pretty popular in the 80s. And I just remember seeing that little TV spot for Halloween 4, and I'm like, I like this guy more than Freddy and Jason. I thought Michael Myers was freakier looking, I would say. So I mean, Halloween was probably the first horror movie that I wanted to explore the franchise. I'd probably still say it's probably still my favorite franchise of all the big horror franchises, even more so than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But they've made a lot of bad movies in that franchise. They've made a lot of bad Halloweens too, though. They've made a lot of bad Halloweens, but
they've made more good Halloweens than they have good Texas Chainsaw sequels.
I agree. That's Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite horror film of all time, but Halloween's my favorite franchise for sure.
Like my favorite horror film is Dawn of the Dead from '78, but my favorite franchise is Friday the 13th.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, see, franchise for me is Friday the 13th. Then my favorite horror movie is Day of the Dead. So.
Yeah, because you're one of those creeps that Romero talked about. You're like one of the fools that really like.
Yeah.
You got to watch the episode of Joe Bob where he has Laurie Cardille and Terry Alexander and.
I watched it. You
did? Wasn't it great?
Yes.
It was great. And then at the end, he gets eaten alive while he's singing goodbye to everybody.
It was amazing to see them
and Terry Alexander doesn't age.
No, he just has gray now. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I honestly didn't think Irish or Scottish?
I think he's Irish.
I couldn't remember his name now, but I didn't think he was still around.
Neither did I.
He is.
I thought he had died. Now,
Yeah.
are you a big Romero fan at all, Steve, or is that kind of?
I'll be honest, zombie movies do nothing for me. I've tried, even the original Night of the Living Dead and the remake of Night of the Living. They just don't. They've never done anything for me. But you know, I'll watch it, but and I don't mind them. I have a hard time getting into them. I have a hard time like really getting into them, but everybody loves them. I'm like,
yeah, I know people who are like that, so it's not that big a deal. I mean,
zombies and like paranormal stuff, ghosts and stuff, those kinds of things really don't do a lot for me.
Yeah, I'm not a big paranormal person at all. And the thing I think you mentioned Michael's mask just being creepier. I think that the way that reason Michael's mask can be creepier than Freddy and Jason is because it's blank. So our own subconscious puts something on there to make it creepy. That or we all subconsciously just hate William Shatner.
I love the Shat Man. He's a fellow Canadian, so it's I don't know. He is a terrible actor, but I still love him nonetheless.
You know what's funny though is I actually didn't mind him in The Devil's Reign.
I haven't seen that, so
yeah, he was actually surprisingly good in that.
That's where they got the mask. That's like they say it's a Star Trek mask, but the way that it looks, it's got to be from his part in Devil's Reign because he had a part where he didn't have any eyes, and it looks just like a Michael Myers mask.
Yeah,
oh, really?
It really does when you see that. If you ever see a still of it, it definitely looks like that Myers mask. And the first time I saw it, which was not too long ago when Joe Bob had it on, and I was like, huh. And I was wondering if maybe they got a hold of some of the stuff that they used to create the prosthetics and to make that mask and just went, we'll slap a Star Trek label on it and say it's from that. Because
you never know.
Star Trek, people will buy anything
from
Star Trek.
Hold on, I found the picture. I'm gonna bring it up here.
The picture?
Yeah.
I'm interested to see it now. What year did that movie come out though?
Oh God, that was
Devil's Reign was 75. 75, okay.
So
yeah.
A few years before Halloween and a few years after Star Trek. So
exactly. So let me find a way to here we go. This is how you do it. And there it is. And here we go.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Could be.
That's a disturbing image. Still.
It really is. Well, you know what's even more disturbing is Ernest Borgnine as the goat guy.
And him being so good at it.
Yeah, he was really good in it.
Dude, that was the most afraid I've ever been of Ernest Borgnine.
Well, I mean, I'm usually afraid of him when we're by a buffet, but I mean, this is the movie where John Travolta found out about Scientology.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I gotta see this
small
now.
part. He's got a very small part in the movie.
Yeah, it's on Tubi, and here I'll bring up the Goat Man from Devil's Reign. Here, it's a really good makeup for a B movie, and that's Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah, that's pretty good for a B movie. I wish we could have had more makeup on Grandpa in our film, because, we tried to hide his face a little bit in Sawyer Massacre. But, Les was a little younger than Grandpa's supposed to be. Still did a great job, though.
And you gotta do whatever you can. They say you gotta hide the weak points and accentuate the high points.
Exactly. I think we did okay. With it. But,
I mean, you said yourself you're getting a lot of now because it's a fan. Let me ask you this: because it's a fan film, legally, are you allowed to sell DVDs and Blu-rays of it, or no?
Not for profit. It has to go. It has to pay for stuff that costs money in the film. So yeah, I can't legally make any money. I have sold a couple of Blu-rays, I think, after the Indiegogo campaign ended, but I was still in the hole. So I think I'm still in the hole, but I have to go check my numbers again. But yeah, you make a fan film, you're gonna, you make any film at the indie level, you're probably gonna end up in the hole. Just so
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
I totally
I'm
get
in the hole.
it's,
But I'm not too bad in the hole. I'm not too badly in the hole. I'm,
but you love what you do, so that ends up
Yeah.
it cancels each other out.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you're following your passion, so that's what's
Oh
good.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Can't ask for more.
No, I mean you could, but who's really listening?
Hopefully somebody.
Everybody,
I like
every
money.
device in
I'd
your
like
home.
to have a little bit.
Yeah, my Google's not listening anymore because because we went and we got new modem and new router, and I can't get my home to connect to it. So
Oh no!
it was a piece of
Oh,
crap
no.
anyway. So I'll probably just get an Alexa or something.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah, why
I've
not?
had a couple of them here around the house, but
Is that just so you can yell from one room to your wife in the other? like when Peter Sellers was working in his office and his wife gets a telegram and the telegram says, "Bring me a cup of tea, Peter."
no, I haven't used it for that. I've thought about it, but I haven't used it for that. Mostly just for reminders and certain things. But
Sure.
Yeah.
But all right,
or use it
everybody.
as a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, I think that might be it for the episode tonight because Darkplace is Darkplace. So don't forget to check out Steve on Indiegogo. The link is going to be in the show notes, and it's right here if you need to see it. If you have to have visuals because you're a visual learner. Where else can people find you, Steve?
They can find me on Facebook, Steve Merlo. You can follow me there. Instagram, I got one for this. I got an Instagram for the Sawyer Massacre at chainsaw_Sawyer, and one for Unseen at _unseen.movie. Follow me there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is just my name under here, Sequanda Films. I'm on the X now. It's called X. And follow me
Whatever
under
it is.
Massacre Sawyer, I believe, something like that. I can't even remember. I'm not even going on Twitter anymore. I'm like, I don't know. I don't like it now. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you can find me on there. You can find it.
You never know.
Exactly.
You never know. And you can find all Jeff's stuff at Skewered Universe on the iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. And
all that stuff. You can go to our website, skeweredhead.com. We got a blog over there. You can listen to the show. And recently I was on my friend Paul's show, Invasion of the Podcast, where we talked about the Twisted Metal series. So go check that out as well. That's out now.
I still need to watch that.
Dude, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I know a woman who said she wants to sleep with Samoa Joe after watching that. Okay.
Samoa Joe is one of the best parts of this show.
If you look at Joe and you get turned on, I'm right here. We have a similar body type. But yeah, so okay, and then you can find the first episode, the premiere episode of Uncle Ron Cinema is going to debut on the 18th, and I'll be showing the film 5 Minutes to Live, starring Johnny Cash, Kay Forrester, and Vic Tayback from Alice. Remember the show Alice? Everybody? No, probably not. Or yeah, he was.
I remember.
Oh yeah, so but this Peppered Farm remembers. So yeah, that's gonna be fun, and you can find me at Uncle Ron. I'm UncleRon.com, and yeah, good times. So with that said,
don't forget to go to talesfromthepodcast.com.
Yeah, you're already here, but don't go to talesfromthepodcast.com. Get a copy of Tales of Shock and Terror issue number 1.
Remember, JB put it in our contracts. We had to say it at least once, or
you signed a contract.
I mean, I didn't sign it, but
no, I just signed
it.
Jeff. No, you didn't sign it at all. No, that's good to know. But
I
want to thank our guest Steve Merlo so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
It's an honor and a pleasure. And
thanks for having me, guys.
I guess you got to do your thing with the arm. I don't know which outro to use, but I think I'll just pick one.
I know which one.
Is it the top one?
It's the top one.
Okay, I'm already there. So,
all right.
All right. With that, the crypt is closed.
Thanks for listening, kiddies. You're all a scream.